Monday. It is Monday, May 12th, and I'm headed to PHP, and it is pouring down rain, as you might can see and probably hear. Whew. Man, this weekend kind of kicked my butt, to be honest. But there were some good parts. There were some highlights for sure. So I'm here with my team or not my team, but I met with the team lead on Friday, and she suggested that I call one of my best friends and have her stay over for the weekend. And I wanted that, and then there was a part of me that didn't want that, you know? Because I could just tell I was headed down this just path, and I was sad, and I kind of just wanted to be alone. Like, I don't know if you ever feel like when you're sad, you just kind of want to be sad in your own presence and not bring anybody down with you. That was the kind of sadness, that was kind of where I was coming from, is I don't want my friend to feel like the sadness that I'm in right now. And also, I'm like, I don't know, I think it's just a combination of feelings and thoughts. So, start watching The Last of Us. I think I've mentioned that in the video, a previous video maybe? I don't know. And so she would go to work over the throughout the weekend, and I'd have these like bits of time where I was by myself, and yeah, if I'm honest, it was just really hard to get up and do the day. So yesterday was Sunday, and I had a really hard time getting up off the couch, and it really was just like me doing opposite action, because that just felt the most reachable in that moment. I don't know. I think for me, I was like being like, oh, I don't know what the proper way to go about this is, and I think just choose something. And that's also something I've been telling myself in recovery with the eating disorder too, is just eat something, you know? Because the program that I'm getting treatment with from does these exchanges, and for me, like over the weekend or just lately, I have just been telling myself, just start and eat something and get the components as you go. Because for me, sometimes it is really just like breaking that fast in between meals. So yeah, for me it's just eating something. And there's not a lot of cohesion right now, and I think that is something I like want to improve on. But for now, what my best efforts look like is eating something. And I definitely want to grow and expand on that. But yeah, that was even this weekend. The weekends are especially challenging because you're, out of programming. You are doing your thing, and I think the weekends are a really good insight on how you're doing. Truly, I think so, because it's all time that you're out of programming. For me, I would say, in regards to treatment for the eating disorder, this weekend was better than last weekend, so I'll take that. In the sense of just being more mindful about time and pausing. So, definitely some takeaways. And I cooked too. Yesterday I made these like potatoes on the cast iron, and let me tell you, the amount of banana chocolate chip muffins that I made, I did try them. So I think the biggest difference I was trying to look for is between the coconut oil and butter. And then I could not tell the difference with the one that had cinnamon and almond extract, and I'm trying to think what else I did differently. Those were the main two things. And I added chocolate chips to both of them because I don't know, in my brain, like, banana and chocolate chips just make sense. So yeah, there's that. And one of the second recipe that I did, I had 4 bananas, and the recipe called for 3. And I did add like eyeball flour, so there was also that. I will also say you should, if you have a whisk, use a whisk. Lessons were learned. The banana muffins were good. They were pretty good. And I could not tell the difference, and I didn't separate them, so I couldn't tell the difference between which one was the coconut oil and which one was the butter. I think the one with the butter was more dense and kind of gave off a shinier look, so it looked more appealing and it had more density to it. But I don't know. I don't know if that's 100% accurate. For me, I just don't bake really, and I think for a lot of reasons I wouldn't bake throughout the last several years of my life, and it's fun to get into that. And the bar is real low. I had very low expectations for my baking ability, which I think is also fun because I just feel more free to experiment and try things. So yeah. But anyways, I think I wanted to get into like kind of my weekend in the sense of as I like kind of look back at the videos, because I think for me I'm just like kind of collecting evidence, being like, ooh, you even said like, I like checked in with an emotion on I think the video from Thursday, and I was like, I'm sad, and that actually stood out to me a lot, because for me I'm like, maybe I'm getting better at being able to gauge where I'm at, and instead of like running from sadness, which I definitely have, historically, I would say that is my go-to, I just kind of let the wave hit me, and it was good because I remember just being on the couch and feeling like just the weightiness of the situation, and it's interesting because I've said this too, of like, I try to bring logic to it, and I'm like, you're okay, like what, like why do you feel this way? And that doesn't seem to help at all, because then I'm like, it's almost like guilt tripping myself, being like, feel better, and or you should feel better, and I'm like, but I don't, and I think that there's just a level of like acceptance of, I don't know what's going on, but I feel heavy, like I feel lowly. And as I was sitting on the couch, something that did help me was, and I just kept saying like, this is gonna get better, like this will pass, and right now, like all you have to do is just rest, like it's okay. And then I would be like, well, what do you need? And I think it just became more and more obvious that my space just felt chaotic. Like I remember just feeling like everywhere I looked in my life, over like just every spot that I looked in my life, it felt chaotic and not orderly, and I felt less than, like I wasn't doing a good enough job in just every category of my life. And so I kind of took that and was like, okay, well, what are some things that you can control in this moment, right here and right now? And I say that a lot, of just leave something better than you found it. Oh my god. Okay, it's the weekend, you're home, you can leave this space better than you found it. And I was like, I don't have the energy. And I was like, I know, but you can't wait. You can't wait for that. So I literally just pulled myself off that couch. Like I'm telling you, I peeled myself off that couch. And I grabbed the camera and I started vlogging, which was hard. A lot of times I look forward to vlogging. I did not look forward to that on Sunday. But I felt the importance of just speaking to that moment and being in a place where I did not want to do my next steps. And so this is cool, and I didn't record back, or I didn't record after this, but that's why I kind of wanted to speak to this. So anyways, yesterday I just started cleaning, and it wasn't anything crazy. I was just like, let's just start somewhere. And I did laundry, and then I did the dishes, and I took the dishes out, and then I swept, and I put things in order and gave things homes, and then I just started making things make sense and look better, and that felt really good. And then I would take breaks too. I was like, all right, take a breather, and I'd like check in with myself, being like, okay, how are you doing? And I was like, oh, I feel better, like I feel a little bit better. had spa stuff, and we did like facial stuff, and I had already done that earlier, which is interesting that like she didn't know that I had done that, which is cool. It's cool timing. I feel like there's just something about like self-care. And this was like the sweetest thing, actually, truly. Like the one thing that I like, it was interesting because in my head I was like, okay, well, don't take a shower. It doesn't make sense to take a shower before you're like cleaning your house and stuff and getting like dirty. And so I was like, okay, I'll take a shower later. And then it gets to later, and I still hadn't taken a shower, and I was like, gosh, I like really like want and need to take a shower. And so then my friend was like, what if like you take a shower in your shower, I take a shower in the other shower, in the guest shower? And I was like, okay. And so at the same time, like, she took her shower, I took my shower, and it just felt like I went to my room to like just go take a shower, and I just felt so not alone. I can't even, I don't know. It just felt, I felt so seen and loved and heard and like all the things. And yeah, and I just felt better. I was like, oh, thank God. And there's just something about putting order to your space and yeah, taking a shower. And I know people say that, and I know what it feels like to be in those moments and be like, that is the last thing. I don't have it in me to do that. There's not an ounce of energy left to do that. And for me, I do kind of feel like sometimes it's like, well, if I don't clean the space or if I don't shower, it's like, it's a high likelihood, it's a high percentage that things will remain the same and I'll feel just heavy and gross. And for me, I'm like, you can do this. You can do this. And it's not even from this place of like grit of like, oh man, I'm so tough, I'm so strong, I like made myself do this. It's like, no, in a place of weakness. I had a friend, one of my best friends coming over, and like I leaned in and was just able to do it and not be alone. So that meant a lot. And you know, that's the kind of friend that I want to be. And I want to be a friend that shows up and is able to just be and see someone and love someone like right where they're at. And that's the cool thing too, is like, I think there's some parts of my journey in my life that I wanted to seem like I had it together and was like presenting a certain way, but would be like in a really rough spot internally. And now I just don't try to hide that. Like I just, you know, I don't feel like that's authentic by any means. And I struggle with that because it just doesn't feel authentic, and it doesn't like help other people, because other people could and would look at my life and think like, oh, like you just present in such a way that you're fine and like you're good. And sometimes I'm like, no, I'm drowning. And I don't want people to feel like unable to open up, because it's like, oh, well, you got home from treatment and you were doing perfectly great. And I'm like, no. So I think it's just, I do find myself being able to want to be vulnerable, to want to not always seem like I have it all together, and not always have to operate from a place of I have to be strong and tough. And I think there's beauty in the breaking. I think there's beauty in asking for help and kind of naming the things, being like, today